Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today is really exciting for me because I'm going to film my first review right now. And I'm also really nervous. So, well, let's start. I'm going to review Historic Materials by Philip Pullman, which is a children's book. It's a trilogy. Historic Materials consists of Northern Lights, which is also known as The Golden Compass. The second book is The Subtle Knife, and the third book is The Ember Spyglass. I loved the first two books. The third book was still pretty great, but when compared to such amazing books as The Northern Lights or The Subtle Knife, it's just not disappointing, but there were high standards. Let's just say there were high standards. This video is going to have two parts. There's like the summary and non-spoilery part, and then I'm going to discuss the book more in depth, tell you what things I loved especially or hated, or, well, just my general thoughts that contain spoilery things. I'm not going to hold this book up, just so you know, for the whole review because it's really heavy. For those of you who don't know the story of Historic Materials, it's set in a kind of parallel world to our world, so it's the same but not really, where a part of the nature of the personality of every human being can be seen in form of an animal. So every person has a part of himself that is represented in his demon, they are called, but with like AE, not just an E. Our main protagonist, Lyra, is a 12-year-old girl who lives in Oxford, but like in this parallel universe. And she grew up in a college with scholars all around her, and her friends were just the town's children, the servant children. And she's actually quite spoiled, at least at the beginning of the book. At the start of the story, there's something quite mysterious happening. In Oxford and all over England, children are abducted by this group of people that are called the Gobblers. And when Lyra's best friend Roger is abducted as well, she takes it on to herself to save him, and just from there on the whole story starts, and it's really amazing. There's friendship in the story, there's action, there are quite a few philosophical questions that have to do with growing up and why we change and why we settle as well. Then there's a whole storyline dedicated to not exactly religion, but things like the church. So kind of organizations behind religion. And it's an amazing book. I would recommend for everyone to at least read the first book, and then maybe you want to continue on, maybe you don't. So for those of you now who don't want to be spoiled for the story, I'll also leave my review on Goodreads down below. I wrote quite a long review, so you can read that one if you want to. Also, if any of you have seen the film, and because of the film they didn't read the book, go read the book. The book is so much better. So much better. Bye to those who don't want to be spoiled now. So, only people left who already know the story or who don't care for spoilers? Good. Let's start with the demons. I found the idea that there's some part of us living outside of us but still with us really interesting. During the whole time I was reading the book, I always thought, what kind of demon would I have? Would I have a wolf? I would like a wolf. I mean, I don't know what a wolf represents, but wolves are like my spirit animal, my favorite animal, so. But on the other hand, I don't want to be a Tartar warrior, and those are the only people that had wolves. An owl would be quite nice as well. Or a snow leopard. A snow leopard like Lord Ezreal. That would be pretty cool as well. Did you also notice that there were no bigger animals, no bigger demons than snow leopards or wolves? I mean, what happens if you have, for example, a bear as a demon? Would you have to kind of renovate your house so the bear fits into the front door? The bears! I loved the Pensabjorn, I think they're called. I loved Eirik Bernison. I loved that he was kind of really emotionless, but you could still feel that he had this really deep love for Lyra, or respect for Lyra. Serafina Pekala, the witch, I thought she was pretty amazing. So she was really cool too. And Lee Scoresby. I think Lee Scoresby was my favorite character in all of the 3 books. And yeah, also there are going to be spoilers for all 3 books in this review. And when Lee Scoresby died at the end of the 2nd book, I was so sad. Why do those guys always have to die? Also, his relationship with Lyra and the way he always said she's like my daughter, and I was so sad. Although I was quite shocked by the scene where Eirik eats his dead body. I thought that was kinda gross. I loved Will. I loved him so much, and I think it was really well done, because Will, he's roughly the same age as Lyra, so he's roughly 12 years old. But he seemed much more mature in a way, so I think it was written really well. That I did get that he had a rough life with his mother and everything, so yeah. And I love the relationship between Will and Lyra, because Lyra, she has had a lot of things happening to her, a lot of betrayal, but in a way she still remained very innocent. And Will, he had to live through a lot as well, which made him very hard. I feel that as the relationship between Lyra and Will developed, Will grew softer in a way. He was a lot harder at the beginning. And yeah, I love the relationship. It was so cute. I mean, I do like a steamy romance, whatever, or not so steamy YA romance. But I love the innocence. I realize I'm saying love a lot in this video. So I adored the innocence of the growing love between Will and Lyra, and also that, I mean, when they kissed for the first time, it was like, that was the act of sin. That was when Lyra fulfilled her role as Eve. But it was kind of strange, because this act of sin was something so innocent as a first love. And I just can't see it as a sin. So I really loved the first one. It was absolutely amazing, and I think it was a good start. There was a lot that was happening, but not too much. I think the 2nd book moved a little bit slower. There was more world building. I loved Mary Malone, by the way, even though when I read her full name, I always have to think of the song Molly Malone by the Dubliners. I think it's by the Dubliners, at least. The second book I really loved as well, as it, but not the ending. I hated that Lee Scoresby had to die, and also that I didn't like Will's father. I didn't like him at all. Then the third book, I had my troubles with the third book. It wasn't that I thought it was a bad book, it's just, for me, it moved kind of slowly. But it's not because nothing was happening, it was like it was too much that was happening. So there were a lot more storylines, and it's like all the time there was something happening, and there was some sort of small climax, and at the end I just thought it was anticlimactic. What are your thoughts on Lord Ezreal? I mean, I guess he kind of was the good guy, or one of the good guys in the end, but I didn't like him through the whole book series ever since he killed off Roger. I also hated Mrs. Coulter, but in the third book she got back on my good side. Let's say it like that. So when she was when she was all motherly with Lyra, even though she kept her unconscious with it, which is stupid. Who else loved the Mulefa? Malefa? Mulefa? Whatever. Who else loved them? I loved them! Even though I thought it was anticlimactic, I absolutely loved this bittersweet, melancholic, not really happy, but at the same time happy ending. I think that's all my thoughts that I wanted to share with you. Comment down below if you've read the book. Tell me your thoughts on it. I'm sorry if this review was a little bit all over the place. I swear I'm going to get better. That's it. Hope to see you soon, and kiss kiss!